One basic practice or idea that is used is this idea of applying knowledge. That as our mind is harassed or overtaken by negative thoughts, we should cultivate counteracting thoughts. So this is the true way of applying knowledge. The true knowledge, or the idea of wisdom, as we use our mind to stop with shamatha, our exhalation, with the mantra Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, and as we inhale, our contemplation, that upon being harassed by negative thoughts, one should cultivate counteracting thoughts. This is a very basic practice, as we talked about yesterday. These negative thoughts, which are called vitarkas, and they counteract the yama and niyamas. As we spoke at the beginning, I don't know if everything turned off or not, but the yama are the precepts, the 5 precepts of not killing. Not killing, ahimsa, or non-violence, is this base of Buddhists that many of the how do you say, Indoic practices, right? As the Shramana, uh, those who practice austerities, that is the basis of it, is ahimsa, or a non-violence. Then we have no stealing, no lying, no intoxication, no sexual misconduct. And that the niyamas are the regulation, as we spoke of, the 2 being the more easier that we can do immediately, regulating food and drink, regulating sleep. Then we have regulating body, regulating breath, and regulating mind, all of which is what we're doing within our practice. But that these vitarkas attack or counteract these benefits or these practices that we have. One thing to keep in mind, the precepts and the regulations, the yamas, the niyamas of the Ashtanga, the 8 limbs, it's imperative to know that if one doesn't have these basic practices, it's very hard to build upon the others. That if one is amoral, which means going against the natural morality of the universe, the base being ahimsa, or non-violence, that one will not be able to cultivate a proper practice. And that when we are using our meditation, our shamatha, stopping and seeing, we use this idea of contemplation, which is the kan, the seeing, same as my name, kan, and means observing properly, observing through one's awareness or knowledge. The sutras are profound in their implications and provides a means of supporting or performing a type of mindfulness meditation, which is what we use we use as some aspects in Buddhism, whereby one consciously adjusts the types of samskaras one allows in one's citta, one's mind. So samskara are these visual or imprints that we have, that we constantly, day by day, both imprint into our mind, and also that they come out of our mind. So from previous imprints, maybe from past lives, or even this life, it's hard to know. These imprints are there, and then when the right causes and conditions, they come about. These are called samskaras, and that either we build upon them or we diminish them. So sometimes we have samskaras, and it has a negative connotation because these are ignorance, based on ignorance imprints. So they're not the real imprint, they're not the real picture. There are interpretation at that time or through that life, etc. So usually based on ignorance, which again is why these things come up. And then if we don't counteract them properly with our practice, they overtake us and we just build upon them and they become stronger. We add to them. If we consider the mind to be essentially a warehouse of samskaras, negative thoughts are merely the activation of some of these previous samskaras or images or memories lying in storage. Samskaras are never destroyed. So these things are never destroyed, but what we recall, although they can be burnt by practice, by yogic practice. In other words, thoughts of violence, dishonesty, etc. arise because of the past practices of such things imprinted on one's mind. And when they say chitta, that is not a regular mind like matter, it's a subconscious, so subconscious. If when the practitioner becomes aware of a perverse thought arising in the mind or in this consciousness, he or she makes a conscious effort to counter it by invoking a benevolent thought. Then a new, more sattvic, which is lighter, more positive, more in the um, practice of enlightenment, towards the practice of enlightenment, type of samskara is planted in a chitta warehouse, in our mind warehouse. So there are three types of gunas, the one being tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. Okay, tamasic is a lethargic and kind of thick, and then rajasic is a raja, which is also means a desire. So this is desire, very incorrect way of thinking, not the pure way. So these two types of thinking, um, which is how we interpret the universe, the world as we see it, and these imprints of samskara are not a positive, but based on ignorance. And then the third is a type of samskara that is based on sattvic, which is lighter, based on knowledge, etc. And then we replace those, and we also lessen the strength of the negative ones. For example, if an aspiring practitioner experiences feelings of dislike for a person, which is a type of himsa or violence, whenever you put an a before a word in Sanskrit, it means the opposite, it means the negative. So himsa is violence, ahimsa means non-violence. Okay, so if you have a person, and we have this, even this negative thought is considered a himsa or violence, resulting from ignorance, which is ignoring the true self of the person and one's other, so the other person's nature, you're denying it. Then upon becoming aware of this feeling, the practitioner can make the effort to think of the person in a non-violent fashion, perhaps viewing him or her as simply an embodiment being victimized by the gunas and karma, etc., and ultimately as a pure nature. So we would use that in Buddhism, the idea of loving kindness practice, right? The kindness, the practice of loving kindness the Buddha gave to us, and that we would envision that person being a Buddha. Okay, so therefore, this is another way that practitioners can be able to counteract thoughts. So yoga is a very direct and active practice. Hence, we prepare ourselves through awareness and meditation. We counteract the uh, ignorance that we have in our minds, the three poisons of greed, hatred, and ignorance. And then we are able to cultivate the larger, or the bigger mind of the Buddha. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful, enlightened day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.